Thank you for clicking on the YouTube link. As an elected official, you have the ability to hear from a wide audience of constituents. And if you hear a common issue that affects your constituents, you have the ability to look at the big picture and work toward a solution that ensures that our laws and statutes are fair and just. I, as well as other homeowners and business owners, need your help in addressing a growing problem. I would like to introduce you to and open a dialogue about the Texas Occupations Code. Title 12, Subtitle B, Chapter 1952, that addresses code enforcement officers. It is the use of the term officer we feel that needs addressing. I, as well as many others, feel the proper term should be code enforcement inspector, not code enforcement officer. Looking at the Occupations Code, Chapter 1952, it is clear that the term code enforcement officer was introduced into the Texas statutes in 2001. Other amendments to this section have happened in the year 2003, but there have been no updates to this section of the law since 2003. I would like to sit down with you and or your staff and discuss what it would take to introduce legislation to update the use of the term from officer to inspector. In my email and or letter sent to your office is a second link to another YouTube video titled Austin Code, Inspector versus Officer. This video is about 20 minutes in length, but it clearly explains and demonstrates the need to address this issue. As a retired Austin firefighter with 28 and a half years of service, I very well understand the need for codes, be it the fire code, the building code, the electrical code, or the plumbing code, just to name a few. Codes are not suggestions. They are laws adopted by a state or a political subdivision of a state for the safety and welfare of the public. A local police department, a law enforcement agency, normally enforces the local and state laws. Building codes do not fall under police department responsibilities. Typically, city codes are handled within a municipality by the Planning and Development /Permit Office, who utilize building inspectors who specialize in one or more trades, who are licensed by the state as inspectors. Here in Austin, as well as across the state of Texas and the United States, there has been a surge to create a subset of inspectors who act as a pseudo law enforcement agency used to enforce city codes. These are not law enforcement agencies. The employees are not hired nor trained as law enforcement officers. Their responsibilities lie with the adopted codes and building standards. Cities like Austin dress up employees in uniforms, much like a law enforcement officer, and turn them loose with only basic training. I have been monitoring this trend since 2009, and I have noted a steady increase in abuse of authority as well as civil rights violations. This is due in part to the wording of the State of Texas Health Department certification as being a state-registered code enforcement officer. This certification title is misleading and allows city leaders to openly refer to inspectors as officers. While I see the need for a code compliance department, Austin is a prime example of how poor training, poor leadership, coupled with a code department that has no checks and balances, has become a real issue for the citizens' civil rights and for a fair due process. These code departments lack oversight, such as an internal affairs office, much like you would find within a well-established law enforcement agency. Often one's only recourse is to file a complaint with the Texas Department of Health, a department that is already overburdened. I think it is time to take a good look at the Occupations Code, as well as the health and safety codes, in respect to the practice of code enforcement within the state of Texas. I'd like to thank you for your time, and I look forward to meeting with you and your staff. This is Dale Flatt.